And sometimes you get churches where it's been founded by somebody, that person's moved on or they've passed away, a new person comes in place, and you get this constant comparison because the church is never like it used to be. And sometimes this is because we haven't understood function. You see, sometimes the person that founds the church is apostolic, but they were ordained as a pastor, and so they move apostolically, and there are certain things that come along with that. They go off the scene, and then the next person that you put into church is purely pastoral. So whereas the person that founded the church was all about actually setting in place foundational structures, and the church expanding and advancing, and the church is very dynamic, and the church is taking ground, and the church is doing new things, and the church is in the community, that person goes, and then the next person you put in place is pastor so-and-so. But because we called everybody pastor, we think they're all the same. Now this dear person is a real true pastor. They're a shepherd, and a shepherd has a gathering anointing, a shepherd has a maintaining anointing. Suddenly the church stops advancing, it stops being as dynamic, it stops making as many strides. And what do people say? He's not as anointed as the person that went before him. And so the pastor spends the next 30 years in comparison to the founder of the church, who's held up as this powerful person of God. When in reality the two people had totally different ministries. And so you, rather than allowing the pastor to do what he's really called to do, you crush him under the weight of expectation of being an apostle that he was never called to be. We're getting rid of this. We're getting rid of this because we're moving into the kingdom age. In the kingdom age, the many who've been called to serve in those positions are released, and people are confirmed into the right ministry. Because we are the bride of Christ, but we're also an army of Christ. And you know what? If I'm going to fight in an army, I want to know who's who. Tell me who the lieutenants are. Tell me who the generals are. We need to know who's who. The body needs to know who's who, and people need to be confirmed into their right places so that they can operate as God has called them to do. And this is going to be a mark of the kingdom age. The people that are called are going to be released. They're not going to be sat on in churches. They're not going to be there for 20 years with a pastoral call, just called, oh, well, you know what? You know, at the end of the day, when God says, you know, waiting for the lead pastor of the church to pass away as if we're operating some sort of dynasty. No. They're going to be released into what God has called them to do. And they're going to be confirmed into the right ministry so that they can run in their call accurately. Church age, kingdom age. In the church age, we've been mainly focused on what happens inside the buildings on a Sunday. In the kingdom age, the shift is to the church lived out as daily life. So that it's not just going to be about prepping ourselves for Sunday mornings. It's not just going to be about what we do on Sundays. The focus is going to be on the daily life of the church, day to day. How are we living? How are we advancing? What are we doing? Because the testimony is going to come from the saints. I've heard other people say this is a move of the saints. That's the kingdom age. The kingdom age is a move of the saints of God.